A Reddit user posted this picture after finding a hidden house sealed inside of his attic. They first posted about it back in 2020, but for some reason, I'm just now hearing about this. In their initial post, they explained that the building used to be a 2-story shop where the shop owners used to live upstairs and the shop was downstairs. Well, the building was then converted into a church where they then sealed the old upstairs portion of the building off and just built a new addition around it. So then the Reddit user living there is left with this, an abandoned 2nd-story space that has been completely sealed off from the rest of the house for God knows how long, and also completely stuck in time. Now, a lot of people in the comments were speculating that when this was turned into a church, this was most likely the pastor's apartment, which some say makes it even creepier. While exploring, they found a second hatch in the ceiling, suggesting that there's another attic attached to the 2nd-story room. But the user couldn't get into it without using the ladder to get back down, and when they said they would go inside and post updates, they never posted on the Reddit thread again.
I should have read the reviews. Welcome back to Creepy Crochet and Creepy Pasta. Let's get into today's scary story. My girlfriend moved out 3 weeks ago. My cat, Ruck, was really close to her, and now that she's gone, I can tell he's a bit lonely, especially when I'm at work. I came home a few times to my curtains ripped up or all the toilet paper in shreds. The last straw was when I came home after working late to find he had clawed a hole the size of a dinner plate into the side of the sofa. I decided I had to do something. I tried different toys, even catnip, but nothing worked. One night while browsing Amazon, I saw a pet camera. It's a tiny camera that records your pet on a live feed so you can monitor their behavior while you're away. It even has an audio function so you can talk to them. Sounded silly, but hey, I love my furry dude, so I bought it. I got overnight shipping and installed it immediately. I decided to set it up in my bedroom as that was where Ruck dwelled most. My first day at work, I think I checked that camera 30 times. When I spoke into the microphone, Ruck seemed to be happier, and I noticed there was no destruction around the house either. By day 4, I figured I'd solved the problem with Ruck. That leads me to right now. About 30 minutes ago, I climbed in bed with Ruck, ready to close my eyes, when my phone buzzed. A notification from the pet cam. I almost ignored it, sure I'd just triggered the thing, but I opened it anyway. What I saw made my grip tighten on the phone. Instead of a video of myself in bed, I saw a man. Tall, gangly, with pale skin and large eyes. He was moving into my room with exaggerated steps, like a sneaking cartoon character. He got right up to the lens, so close I could almost smell his rotten breath, and he smiled. I immediately paused the video, terrified. I looked at the spot where the man should have been standing, but there was no one there. I went onto Amazon and found the pet cam and read the reviews, hoping for some weird glitch. It had to be a joke, right? The first dozen reviews were pretty standard, but it was the last that caused me to bolt upright. The customer complained that the camera was on a time delay, sometimes as much as 15 minutes. I went back to the video and pressed play with shaky fingers. I watched in horror as the man slithered under my bed, giving the camera a wink before disappearing in the darkness. I saw myself enter the room and climb in bed before the video ended. Now I'm sitting in my bed, knowing he's under it. I could call the police, but I doubt I'd have time. So please, do yourselves a favor and read the reviews.
I need to tell you guys this ghost story. This story was sent into my email, and if you have any ghost stories, paranormal encounters, or scary stories that you want to share, you can send them to the email in my bio. Since I was young, my family believed I was sensitive to things that most people weren't. I understand how strange that might sound to people, but I hope that to some that it won't, and that someone out there has had maybe a similar experience. This belief started because when I was a child, I told my family that I had seen my great-great-grandfather. I had seen him leisurely standing inside my grandmother's childhood home. The problem was I had never met the man. He had died long before I was born. Yet when I was questioned about what I was seeing, I described him perfectly. The clothes he wore, the way he looked, and apparently even where he was standing. When I saw him, everything checked out. As I got older, strange things occasionally happened around me, but nothing that truly terrified me. Not until my 16th birthday, at least. The night of my birthday, I had one of the most vivid dreams I've ever experienced. Even calling it a dream, though, doesn't feel right to me. It felt very real. I remember standing in some place that looked empty and endless. The sky was dark, and there was just miles and miles of land all around me, like standing in the middle of a desert almost. and scattered all around me were bodies, at least 100, just lying there motionless on the ground. As I looked around, that's when I saw him. The only one standing among them was a man, and I got this overwhelming feeling that he'd been watching me. Immediately, I knew he wasn't human. I knew that there was something deeply wrong with him, something evil. He slowly approached me, and then he spoke. He started by telling me his name, and maybe it's irrational, or maybe to this day I'm still fearful of him, but I've never repeated that name out loud, ever. Some part of me believes that speaking it would invite something back into my life that I don't want to return. When I woke up, I was shaking, my heart was racing, and I immediately went to my mother and told her what had happened. She only listened and had only a few words of advice. She told me that I needed to be careful. According to her, some people just naturally attract spiritual things, both good and bad. And at the time, I didn't know what to think. Part of me wanted to believe that it was just a nightmare, nothing more. The other part wasn't so sure. The next morning, my father woke me up very early. The sun had only barely started to peek over the horizon. He needed a ride to work, and so I got dressed, grabbed my keys, and we went on our way. I was understandably still tired from the night before, still unsettled from the dream, and on the way back home, something changed. Everything around me went completely quiet. I could no longer hear the AC through the vents. The radio I had playing, the sound of the street beneath the tires, it was all gone. I felt like the world had changed around me, like I had been plunged underwater almost. In that moment, I remember gripping the steering wheel tighter and trying to convince myself that what was happening to me wasn't actually happening. I kept repeating the same thought to myself over and over and over again. Whatever this was, I'm stronger than it. Whatever it is, I'm not afraid. When I finally got back home, it was around 5 in the morning. The sun was starting to rise steadily now, and I tried to lay down to get a few more hours of sleep, but no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't. I couldn't stop replaying the dream. That morning, the man, I convinced myself that a good run would clear my head and probably help me sleep better later on. So I changed, grabbed my dog, and headed toward a canal near my parents' house. For a little while, everything felt normal again, until I saw him. Standing near the canal, maybe 15 feet away, a man in a suit, completely motionless, and I recognized him. It was the man from my dream, except it couldn't be him. It wasn't possible. Dreams don't step into reality, but before I could even react, my dog stopped, completely frozen, locked up, and then so did I. And as we stood there, unable to use our bodies, he moved. He didn't walk towards us. He didn't run. I would have even accepted a glide from this man, but not even that. 1 second he was standing by the canal, and the next he was right in front of me. Face to face now, only inches between us. Before I could react, he placed his hand directly on my chest. The pain was immediate. A burning sensation ran through my body. I tried to pull away. I tried to fight, but I couldn't move. My body wasn't mine anymore. And close up like this, I could finally see his face. He wasn't human. His features were too pronounced. His hair was too dark, his jaw was too sharp, and his eyes were completely black. I remember hearing him speak, and his voice was strange, like a lot of voices layered together. And he kept repeating the same thing, that I belonged to him, that nobody could take me away, that nobody could touch me. And the burning grew worse. My vision started fading. I could feel myself losing consciousness. I thought I was dying. Then something touched my back. A hand. I knew it was. I could feel the fingers, and the touch was firm and gentle. A bright flash of light exploded around me, and for one terrifying second, I genuinely thought I had died. But in almost the same instant, the light vanished, the burning stopped, and the pressure on my back disappeared. When I came to, the man was gone. The canal was empty, and the morning was quiet again. My dog suddenly sprang back to life, barking frantically and pulling at her leash. I didn't wait around. I ran the entire way home, slammed the door behind me, locked every lock, and immediately called my mother. Crying and shaking, I tried to explain what had just happened. And after that call, within a short amount of time, my grandmother arrived at my house. And with her came a priest. So I recounted the story to them, everything that had happened within the last 12 hours, the dream, the silence, the canal, the man, the burning, and the light. And when I finished, the priest sat quietly for a moment before speaking. He believed something had intervened that morning, something divine, something that stepped in before whatever I encountered could finish what it had started. After that day, I never saw the man again. I never had another dream about him. I never felt that presence, almost as if whatever happened near that canal had just ended there. Still, though, so many years later, I find myself thinking about the hand at my back, wondering who or what was there that day, and being thankful that they arrived just in time.
I went to Berkeley today with my boyfriends and friends, and there was this woman outside of Ross, and we were all standing having a conversation. By the way, we're not all white. That's important to the story. And we're all talking in a group facing away from the door to Ross, and this woman comes out and is like, "Excuse me," and we turn around, and it's this, like, bald lady. And she's like, "Are you guys visiting?" And I'm like, "No." And everyone else is like, "No." And then she's like, "Do you live here?" And everyone's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Are you sure?" And we were like, "What?" And she was like, "Are you sure? My husband is like the top, like, what, law enforcement, army? What was it?"
I think she said military supervisor.
Oh yeah,
or
the
something.
top military supervisor in California. "Do you guys have some sort of passport or ID on you?" And we were like, "No." And she's like, "Well, you're probably gonna get deported." Like, what?
She looks at me and goes, "Where are you from?" And I went, "Well, I just moved here from Florida." She goes, "Well, you're probably gonna get deported."
And then Austin was like, "Oh no." And she was like, "Oh no, yeah, well, there's a lot of ice around here." And then she walked away, and as she was walking away, we just kind of looked at each other and started laughing because we're like, "What was that?" And she was like, "Yeah, haha, very funny. This is Slaughterhouse America." And then just kept walking and, like, looking back at us. What is going on? Not to mention, literally everyone in our group was like a different ethnicity. So she's just saying this to a group of people because there are people there who aren't white. Like, it genuinely just, like, threw us for such a loop, and it was so direct and terrifying and, like, confusing, and, like, nobody, like, there are people here who are like that, right? Like, it's not uncommon in California, but it's not common either, and it's especially not common to be that direct and, like, aggressive about it, and it was just really strange. Also, it's not like we're a group of, like, young kids who are, like, defenseless. It's like Austin is, like, 5'10". He's like 5'10" and kind of, like, ripped. And then one of my friends is also, like, what, like 6 foot? Like, how tall is he?
It's a big ass. Oh, I can't say that, can I?
He's a big dude. So it's like she just came up to a group of people who are not necessarily defenseless and started, like, spewing that. Also, you're in the Bay Area, like, you go around saying that, something bad is going to happen realistically. Like, it was just really, really out of pocket and insane.
My missing husband came home, but I just know it isn't him. Welcome back to Creepy Crochet and Creepy Pasta. Let's get into today's scary story. My husband went missing 6 months ago. Just went out to work one day and never came home. It was a horrible shock to the whole neighborhood because things like that just don't happen in our little slice of white picket fence suburbia. The police launched an investigation and the neighborhood watch sent out search party, but no one ever found any evidence to indicate what had happened to him. Our families were devastated. Recently, the missing posters have been taken down or papered over. The updates from the police became less frequent and dwindled away. I accepted that, hard as it was to admit, my Rick wasn't coming back. Until he did. A week ago, I was in the back garden watering my petunias when I heard the garden gate creak open. I jerked my head in that direction and there he was. Exactly the same as he was the day he disappeared. Same wind-swept blonde hair and bright blue eyes, same curl to his pink lips. I was in shock. Our families had mourned him, and yet there he was, standing in our garden like he had just popped out for milk or something. When I asked where he had been, he said he didn't know. He couldn't remember anything about the last 6 months. All our family and friends are beside themselves with joy. They almost can't believe it. But that's just the thing. I don't believe it. Look, I understand how crazy this all sounds, I do. Our families would never believe me, and I can't go to the police unless I want to end up in a straitjacket. But I just know that the man sleeping next to me isn't my husband. I don't know what to do. I know I should be happy, but I'm not. I'm terrified. I don't know much about anything supernatural or paranormal. I don't even like watching horror movies. But something about this whole situation makes my skin crawl. Just let me explain why I'm so sure. Once I've done that, hopefully one of you will believe me and you'll be able to tell me what to do. The morning after Rick came home, I made him a cup of tea. When I handed it to him, he gave me the brightest smile. Then he took a sugar cube from the dish on the table and dropped it into the cup. Our house was in chaos with his return, and I was still in shock, so I didn't think much of it at the time. But it's been replaying in my mind ever since. I know it doesn't sound very significant, but my husband never put sugar in his tea. He was always adamant that it ruined the taste, and he'd get so frustrated if I ever put sugar in his cup by accident. And yet, this man had sugar. Then it was the golf. A few days ago, when he was out visiting his mom, I recorded a golf tournament that was showing on the TV. It was one of Rick's favorite golfers that was competing, and he never missed it. Once he even skipped out on an anniversary dinner just to watch a championship. Only when he came home from his parents and I told him what I'd done, he just seemed unbothered. Like, he said thanks and everything, and then he asked me if I wanted to go to dinner. He didn't even watch it. And that's just so out of character for him. Then one night I woke up around 2 a.m. to see Rick's face inches from mine just looking at me with these blank eyes. I kind of gave this nervous laugh and asked, "Baby, what are you doing?" And he didn't answer. For like a solid 30 seconds. He just stared, almost like he was looking right through me. Then he suddenly smiled and said, "Sorry, honey, sometimes I just can't believe this is real." And he just rolled over and went to sleep. I didn't get much sleep after that myself. Yesterday, about a week after he came home, the neighborhood threw a street party to celebrate his return. Everyone from our street and the streets on either side turned up to see him and tell him how happy they were that he's alright. When he wasn't standing with his arm around my waist, he was milling around and chatting amicably to each and every one of our neighbors, even the little kid. Jackson, our next door neighbor, Sally's toddler, wanted to play peekaboo, and Rick happily played along with a smile on his face. Now, my husband never did that. Rick always said he didn't like kids. That's why we never had any. And so he never wanted to play with any of the neighborhood children, especially not Jackson. Rick all but avoided him. Before he disappeared, I had started to suspect it was so I wouldn't see them together and notice the subtle but unmistakable similarities. The final nail in the coffin, proverbially speaking, was Sally. Just this morning, she came knocking on our door. Her excuse was the tray of brownies she carried, but I think she just wanted to push her way into our morning so she could see for herself what the situation was. After she left, I called her a nosy busybody. Rick laughed, kissed my head, and agreed with me. That was when I knew for sure that I couldn't really be him. Rick always used to get so mad whenever I insulted Sally, like I didn't have any right to hate her even though she'd been screwing my husband for years. But today there was none of that. He didn't even try to defend her. I know what you must be thinking. If he was in an accident or something, he might have just had some kind of traumatic brain injury that caused him to forget some things about his life. Maybe even change his personality. And that's a valid, reasonable explanation. I have no doubt it's what the police would tell me if I reported all this. But you know why I'm dead certain that man isn't my husband? He doesn't have a scar. If he was really Rick, he'd have a scar on the side of his forehead shaped like a golf club I hit him with. But there's nothing. Not a mark. Honestly, I'm this close to going out tonight and digging up my petunias just to make sure he's still under there. I don't know what I'm sharing a bed with, but I know it's not my husband. So what the hell am I going to do?
Can we show him the older homestead?
Yeah, let's go. As you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
They went to both.
Yeah.
Expectations versus reality, prison edition. If you've never been to prison, you already have it made up in your head what it's gonna be like. There is no GANGS's. I thought for sure when I got there, I was like, where do I click up? I don't know what to do. Who's my leader? I don't know. Do I get a teardrop tattoo before I go? What do I do? Fuck! There ain't none of that. Now, mind you, this is in the Oregon prison. I don't speak for any other prison. I haven't been around the world in all the prisons, okay? You can make phone calls anytime you want. During count time and when you have to be in your bunk area at bedtime or whatever, you can't use the phone, but like the day room is always open. You can always use the phone. Yeah, there might be a line to use the phone. There's phones outside, there's phones inside. I don't know why, but I thought when you would go to prison, you have to like be like, please collect dimes or something to use the phone. You can buy things with your own money. Like what? Soda tickets. You can get soda pop. Hey, a soda machine. They have like these, they look like dollar bills, but it says soda ticket. And out comes a code red. Got money. I truly hate to break this to you, but nobody is shanking anybody. There's no shanks in there. I did see somebody like swing around a lock. You know those heavy locks we had in middle school? In a fucking tube sock, dude. after an old lady in the shower. Holy! Oh no, we all had to get on the ground. It was a whole thing. I didn't see the aftermath, but imagine. This lady was old. She was like freaking 48. Oh, another thing I thought was gonna happen when I got there was like girls just like, no. I mean, maybe they are on the other side on medium, but on minimum, no. It was like pretty hard. Actually, I did. Listen, you could get in big trouble. So when you do that, you're risking it all, dog. It's not just like happening around the corner. Like, I'll settle it with this. It wasn't happening as often as I thought it was going to be happening. You know when you would watch prison shows and you would see a guy like walk into someone's cell and they're like, hey, homie. Hell no. That is not allowed. Fuck no. We're getting handcuffed immediately. You couldn't do that in the prison. There's no fucking way, dude. You would get it's basically a write-up saying that you're out of your area. Oh, that is not true. Dalton said it was like that where he was at, though. The officers at the male prison didn't give a fuck, really. Dalton was celled up with his literal brother. It's so different in the men's prison versus where I was. There wasn't as many fights as I thought were gonna be happening. I did see some fucking roundhouse your asses. Not as much as I thought were gonna be happening. I thought I was gonna get beat up every second. I was like, show force. I was like, what? Nah, dog, I ain't doing your laundry. Day 2. Literally told that behemoth woman that. I also thought that being in prison, you would always get like the same sludge every day. Me right now. They have a rotating menu. So it's like spaghetti, fish, meatloaf, goulash. Cat food, that's more in jail. There is cat food served to you as a meal in jail. Correct. This is a frequent question asked me all the time. What's worse, prison or jail? Jail. Because people are living in prison. Obviously, they make it more comfortable for the people that are doing life, 10 years, 15 years, 8 years. People are in a temporary place, aka jail. It's like a mental institution. People are screaming, ah! I'm like, where's my attorney? I told you guys, I watched a woman smear her poop on the inside of her cell in jail. And then through the poop smear, she told me to call Lithia Dodge. Call Lithia! I was all, surely there's not a woman talking to me through her shit splatter on the window. Also thought that, I thought all the girls were gonna be like chicanas and like eyebrows like this and like, what a fool. No! It was like Mean Girls. There was the plastics, the weirdos. I remember the first time I sat next to a plastic girl and I looked down at her toes and she had gel toes and I said, where did you get those? And she looked at me like I was a freak. She was like, here. But she was a plastic. Not that I have anything against Chicanas. I actually was one when I lived in Mexico. And that's why I don't have any more eyebrows because I plucked them off. Trying to find a place to sit the first time like I had lunch in prison. I was like, where do I go? The people that had the bologna on their face and they're all, you couldn't pay me to go back there. It was so traumatic. Dead ass. I also didn't know there was gonna be ice cream sandwiches there. That took me by surprise. It was basically a military / college / hell. Anyways, I love you guys. See you later. Bye.
I have gotten so many comments about asking for another horror story. If you are watching this at nighttime, I would save it for later or watch at your own risk. Again, if you don't believe in paranormal activity, just scroll past this video because I'm not gonna argue with anyone in the comments. I don't know if you guys have watched this video yet, but I'll put a screenshot right here of this haunted, I don't know if it's haunted, but this very weird road that I live right by. Something happens every single time I am on that road. Last night I had work and I decided to take that road home, that specific road home. Immediately regretted it because it was almost midnight. I had this weird, eerie feeling that I was about to freak the fuck out because I was already a mile deep into this road. I had no choice, so I had to keep going. And I just felt like there was a presence or someone in the car with me. And I had just had a nightmare about I forgot to lock my doors at night and I got out of work, or it was practice, one of the two, and there was someone in my car. So it was kind of freaking me out, but turned my flashlight on, turned around, there was no one behind me. Kept driving, and I just kept having this gut feeling to look behind me because I was so freaking scared. And one time that I looked behind me, I saw a head, a face. It wasn't even a head, it was just a face staring at me. It was not in the back seat, but it was in the trunk between the head seat and the wall of the car. I shot my head back and grabbed my flashlight, turned it on, and there was obviously nothing there. But I was also so scared of when I was looking back, I was gonna turn around and there was gonna be someone in front of my car, and then I swerve off the road and. But that was just, I was being dramatic. Okay, I was that's how scared I was. I was thinking of the worst things possible that you could ever think of because I was genuinely just so fucking scared. It was so bad. I don't know, something about that night was just freaking me the fuck out. My brother got in the car and he was like, something about tonight is so scary. And I was like, Dylan, what the fuck? And then I told him everything that happened. And I was like, I'm not trying to scare you, blah, 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 blah. And the fact that he said that before I even said anything, it's just freaking me out. I was just scared. Got Taco Bell and nothing happened. We were coming back through my subdivision and all of a sudden something gets thrown at our car. Yeah, thrown at our car. And it was almost like, it was so hard and loud. It felt like something wanted us to stop. And I obviously didn't. I went faster and I turned up our court and I was going so fast. We parked the car. I threw it in park. I was like, okay, Dylan, we're just going to run 3, 2, 1 and we're going to run to the house together. We grabbed our food. I was like 3, 2, 1. We ran in the house and locked it right away. And nothing else happened that night, but then I woke up and I was like talking to my mom and my sister about what happened, and I started telling the story, and my mom's like, Megan, and I was like, oh gosh, what? And she was like, I felt something tap me on the shoulder 3 times the other day, and no one was there. And I was like, oh my freaking gosh. And now I'm scaring myself. I'm getting scared. And I was like, wait, were you in the car? And it didn't happen in the car. It happened like at my house while she was sitting at the counter. But that just freaked me out so bad. And then my sister was also telling me that when she went upstairs, because our room was in the basement, she said that when she went upstairs, she had like a gut feeling that someone was watching her. And she just ran to the bathroom and ran back to her room because something was just so off. Like, she did not like the feeling. And now I'm so scared to drive at night. Like, even not on the back roads, like, I always feel like someone is in the car with me. And I don't know if it was because the dream I had or the face I saw, but I don't like the feeling that I get every time I go in the car. Anyways, let me know if you guys want more story times, which you guys probably will, because I have not stopped getting comments on multiple videos, more horror story times. So if you guys want some, comment down below and I'll give you guys some more. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. Bye.
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen.
Did the window
Sean.
break?
Every Halloween, my mommy carves special jack-o'-lanterns. She won't let me show anyone. Welcome back to Creepy Crochet and Creepy Pasta. Let's get into today's scary story. Mommy, where do you get your jack-o'-lanterns? I asked, gazing expectantly up at her. She stared for a long time at the 3 lumpy orange messes lined neatly in front of her before she turned to me and stooped to my level. Her icy gaze sent a chill ripping down my spine as her eyes connected with mine. It's a secret. I'll tell you when you're older, but you can't talk about them with the other kids, okay? I sheepishly broke eye contact, puffing out my lower lip as I stared defiantly at the ground. But Mommy, yours are so much better than everyone else's. None of my friends' jack-o'-lanterns have hair or teeth or blood like yours do. I want to show them, I whined, tears threatening to spill down my rosy cheeks. I know you do, sweetie, but Mommy will get in big trouble if you tell anyone about these. You don't want Mommy to get in trouble, do you? No, I sniffled as she gently wiped my face. That's a good girl. I'll tell you what, when you're old enough, we can carve the jack-o'-lanterns together. But only if you promise not to tell anyone. She fixed her gaze on me, awaiting a response. I turned to the jack-o'-lantern closest to me. It looked so real. Tangled, blood-splattered blonde hair sprouted from the top of the pumpkin. Its mouth was twisted downward in a permanent scream, perfect white teeth visible within. And those eyes. I could just feel the fear radiating from those pale blue irises. I slowly turned back to Mommy. A smile blossomed across my lips, and I nodded my head fervently. I promise, I can't wait, I cried, hopping up and down excitedly. One day, my jack-o'-lanterns will be even more terrified than yours.